Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I know it's been 3 months. It's been crazy. Holiday, family, work, you name it. I'll give you every excuse, including that I'm a little bit scared of this YouTube thing, but hey, got to give it a try, right? So for 2021, start the new year off right because I'm going to give away 3 of these. Thank you, Meguiars. Thank you, RJ. This is their complete car care kit. It's got 7 items. If you're a car person or if you're not, if you own a car, you should actually have this stuff. So I've got 3 boxes to give away. We're gonna let it run for 2 weeks. You have to be subscribed to my channel. You have to like a video, preferably this one or any of them. And you have to be following me on Instagram. So if you are both of those, you have a chance of winning this kit. I'll ship it out to you, continental US only. Sorry, Brett, people overseas. When I see you, I'll just hook you up. So yeah, this is your chance to win. Thank you very much for following and subscribing. For this episode, what we're going to do is I'm going to sort of break down, I think, how I got into my current car, my search for that. I'm always looking for cars. And because the last episode was basically how Sabal and I got hit, how that car ended up totaled, which is still crazy to me. I'll break into how I'm driving my current car. I mean, if you're following me on Instagram, you know what I'm driving currently. But yeah, we'll sort of break down that story. We'll do some cars and coffee footage, some driving footage, and basically what makes me a car guy, and my boys. So that's what we're going to do this episode. Thanks for following. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you are following me. Get a chance to win one of these babies. And yeah, we're trying to get more consistent for 2021, more uploads. Really love to see a lot of the other YouTubers and how they're flourishing and doing well. Even some of the new ones are cool. So anyways, on to the current episode. So flashback to summer 2018. I had had my F80 M3 for about 2 years at that point, so I was starting to get the itch to look for something new. The M3 for me was a great car. BMW individual tanzanite blue, sat 4 comfortably, 5 if you need to. Great daily driver, great performance. But you know me, I'm just always looking for something new. So at that point, I started to look for another 911. I had previously owned, let's see, that was an 02 911 C2 Speed Yellow. That was a fun car, did the work Rezax, roll cage, suspension on that car. I also had a 993, that was a C2S, air-cooled. And, I knew that 911 was a great all-around car. You could drive it every day. I could probably seat both kids in the back if I found the right model, I guess, at that point. So I started looking at the 997 Turbo. I found the rear seats to be a little too small, the interior a little bit small, at least for me, for daily. I mean, they're all sort of small. So I bumped up to a 991 at that point, thinking, maybe that's a sweet spot where I could drive it every day. The kids could sit in the back comfortably and be, a truly usable sports car. And that's sort of what 911s are known for anyway. So I started to search at that point for a 991. So the first car I went after in September was a 16 911 991 GTS Coupe. It was sapphire blue, manual. I want to say it had like 15,000 miles. It was a great car, actually. Locally here at Fletcher Jones. The GTSs are great. They have all the suede and pretty much every option package you can get on a 991. They sort of package it all together. This one was cool because it was manual, and it was a really good car. They wanted 107 for it, and I think, I was sort of right there. I was about $5,000 away from where I wanted to be with them, including turning in the M3. So I ended up passing on it, which hindsight, that would have been a great car to keep, especially because it was manual and GTS. It was normally aspirated as well, but I continued my search after not being able to close on that car.
You hit the car!
You hit my
over.
car! Pull over! We're gonna call the police. You hit my car. Look at the front of your car.
So if you haven't checked out the previous video, make sure you do. Basically, that was the first time my M3 got hit. And at that point, I was already like, you know what? It's time to start looking for a new car. So at this point, I ramped up the search for another car. So I found a 2015 991 Carrera GTS again. Local at McKenna. It was a rhodium silver low spec car, but it had really low miles, 600 miles. I mean, it seemed like a good car, so I went to check it out, tried to do a deal with my car. My car had been fixed already at this time. It was basically put back to stock. And after the test drive, the dealer was just terrible. He took a look at my car and felt that it was too modified. At that point, it was back to stock. It had a carbon fiber wing and a carbon fiber front. The Carfax checked out, so that hadn't hit yet apparently. But he was just terrible to work with. In all my years of buying cars, I've never had this experience. I'll never buy another car from McKenna, which is funny because I bought my first BMW there. So at this point, I'm pretty distraught, right? It's like I've tried two deals at this point, and I'm usually pretty good with car deals. I've done what, I don't know, like I've purchased 20 cars in my lifetime for me. And it's like, I can always make it work somehow. And both of these times I just couldn't make it work no matter what I did. Either I just couldn't make it work to my advantage for once. And it was disturbing. I was upsetting, and I was like, I just need to take a break for once and just maybe wait it out a little bit and see what else I could do to try and make the numbers work in my favor for what I wanted. At the same token, though, I also had my car, which had already been in an accident. I was like, man, this is driving me nuts. I got to figure something out. So I just gave it some time. I basically waited about, I want to say 6 months until June. That's when I started looking for a car again, another 911 at that point. So third time's a charm, right? So this go around, I find a 2017 991 C4S wide body, agate gray, RS wheels, great car, low mileage, I want to say less than 10,000 miles over at Walters Riverside. Sport exhaust, overall a great car, something I was looking forward to, and maybe, I can make this one work. So went to check it out, and so the Carfax hit. And it's funny because when I initially got in the accident, I had a few friends tell me, hey, get the car fixed, and you want to try and beat the Carfax basically, so that way it doesn't diminish the value of the vehicle. So it had been well past the time that was going to happen, so I knew eventually it was going to show up on the Carfax and I was going to have to deal with that. But it was one of those things where I had test driven the car, things were going great. I'm like, okay, let me see what angle how I want to sort of attack this. And the salesman comes back with that readout, or the printout that I showed you, and it was literally like, okay, so can we still do a deal? And at that point, the diminished value for what the M3 was worth because of the Carfax, along with where I wanted to be money-wise with the car, just there was no way that was going to happen no matter what I did. So I waited again. I literally just was like, okay, now I've got to try and buy down the vehicle so that way for when I try to attempt to do this Houdini one more time in my life, that I can actually do it. So that was June, and I honestly stopped looking for another, gosh, it had to have been another 4 to 5 months. I was like, forget it, just continue to pay the car down and let's see if I can try and work this from a different angle. So another 6 months goes by, about, not even 6 months, maybe like 4 months goes by. And I'm getting cake for the kids and Wendy at a place called Susie Cakes in Costa Mesa. And as I'm walking in, I see a 991 Porsche in this color that I'd never seen before. And I immediately was like, that's a wrap, looks cool, but I want to take a picture, but I don't because I think that's the owner and he's in the car. And guys, we don't do that, right? So I walked in, I was like, I'll get a picture when he's not around or anything. So I get my cake, I go walking back out and the car's gone. And I was like, man, that was really cool looking 991. Oh, well, whatever, not a big deal. So that goes by and I start looking again. I'm like, okay, I saw that car and I was like, okay, this sort of got me going to try and find something new all over again. The car hadn't been paid down that much. It was only like 4 months more, I guess. And I start looking around, and maybe, I think it was November or December, it had to have been, I find the actual car that I saw at Susie Cakes, in front of Susie Cakes. And it was a 2017 991.2 Porsche C4S in paint to sample, stone gray, which is like a 356 color back in the day. If you don't know what paint to sample is, basically, It's a Porsche Special Wishes. If it's colors that you can't get normally on the palette when you purchase a car. So it's literally paint to sample color that you'd have to basically specify when you order the vehicle. So I found it, and I was like, oh, okay, this is interesting. I saw the price of it. I'm like, that's a little pricey, but you know, I'll think about it as I continue to look on for other cars. So time went by. This is January, February. We're already getting into basically COVID time, and I'm still in the M3, and I'm up north taking care of a family member, and the car gets hit in the hospital in the parking underground. Didn't know it had happened. I was there for less than 24 hours. It was sort of a turn and burn. And I come out and my family is already upset over what had happened, and I'm upset. And the last thing on my mind was trying to get home in a car that someone had hit. So yeah, it got hit, literally hit and run in the hospital. Parking lot, parking structure in San Francisco. Luckily, it was bad, but it wasn't so bad I couldn't drive it home because I had to get my sister and myself home. So I drove it home broken, basically. I'll post up some pictures, or I'll put them here or wherever. So that was sort of, okay, now that I get this fixed, now I really need to find something, because I'm done, I'm over it. I had also figured by this time that the stone gray car was gone. I was like, oh, it's already been a couple months or whatever. So I got my car fixed for that's the second time now that the car got fixed, and I'm off looking again. And incidentally, once I get the car back, the stone gray paint to sample vehicle shows up at what I consider a friendly dealer. Lamborghini Newport Beach, where I know the GM, I know a bunch of the guys there. I had my Meguiars service there previously, and I see them all the time at Cars and Coffee stuff. So I consider them a friendly. I brought them some business. So I thought, well, maybe I can make something work out with them. And I did. I mean, the fourth time was a charm in this case. I mean, this is the exact car that I saw out at Fred and Susie Cakes that I wanted a picture of, that I thought was wrapped because the color was so cool. This is my 2017 paint to sample stone gray C4S 991.2 sport exhaust. It's got a pretty decent sticker on it. Yeah, I mean, they were able to work the numbers for me. I ended up getting rid of my M3 through bid lane, but Nick and Pietro were really good about me just leaving them the car basically, and they handled that with bid lane. One of the, sincerely, of all the car purchases that I've had, one of the best experiences with these guys, not just because I consider them friends, but they really took care of me. I really never take delivery of cars because I sort of know a lot about them, so it's like, just give me the car, I'm going to bail. And that was sort of the case even with this car, but it was cool that they actually put it in the dealership, brought it out for me, all that fun stuff. It was honestly a very good experience, and I'm very thankful to them, and thankful that honestly in any of the other deals they didn't work out. I'm glad they didn't work out, because that's how I ended up with this car. And that's it. That's how I bought a car during COVID. Thanks for watching. I know that was a long video. Hopefully you found it somewhat interesting. Don't forget, I'm giving away 3 of these bad boys. Thanks again to Meguiars. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel, that you're following me on Instagram, and give me a like, and I'll get 3 of these out to 3 of you guys in the next 2 weeks. All right. So please stay tuned. I'll hopefully get some more content out shortly. Thanks again. It's got to be one of those. That's it. I'm done.